Hey, what's going on guys? Arekkz here and welcome back to another video for Blue Protocol. Just a really quick one today, but I wanted to take some time to talk about the Imajinn system. If you guys caught the video we did on the skill system, I went through and explained how the skill system works in this game, how you can upgrade skills, what skills you can swap to, your ultimate ability, different things like that. And if you haven't checked that out, I will link that down below. And also if you didn't check out the video we uploaded the other day, then it has been confirmed that Blue Protocol is going to be global. We don't have a date for it, nor do we have a date window, but they did announce in the Q&A on the live stream that they do have plans for a global beta at some point. Keep in mind the next beta is of course just for Japanese players. You can obviously get into it. I've said this before, it's not region locked, it is just for Japan, but they did confirm there will be global plans for a future beta, so that of course all but confirms that we will be at some point getting this game. So if you guys have been holding off, on kind of getting excited just in case we never got this, then at least you can now start paying attention to the information on this game. Anyway, the Imajinn system is basically it's kind of like a monster summon system to a degree, not summons in the conventional sense. And I know in the kind of comments before, some people have said, oh, it'd be really cool if there was like a summon class. And I think the reason there probably isn't is because all classes have access to the Imajinn system. When you look on your skill bar, there are two little gaps down here. These are two optional slots for your Imajinn skills. Now you can see Imajinn's like kind of temporary monster summon. See them as like abilities in the same way that you would cast an ability and you would use it for that split second. It then recharges. The Imajinn system works the exact same way. They have cooldowns, but they are kind of portrayed by summoning monsters. Sometimes they're smaller monsters, sometimes they're pretty damn big, and they then perform a move. Sometimes it's a damaging move, sometimes it'll buff you, and they then go away. So I guess it's kind of like sort of summoning a spirit, if you will, for like a quick attack. Imajinn fall into three core categories. You have your combat Imajinn, which are predominantly for this exact purpose. You can typically get Imajinn through either quests, or you can pick them up off monsters. Whenever you kill monsters, they won't normally drop things like weapons, but instead they will drop rare materials that can then be used to craft Imajinn or upgrade your weapons. There's also an Imajinn Research Institute in the towns, and this is basically where you go to craft your Imajinn. Now, within the combat section, you have normal combat Imajinn, which are, think of these as like the slightly lesser monsters, the slightly smaller ones, your kind of average tier monsters. These will either deal damage or they'll have some kind of special ability. Sometimes that can be used to increase your basic stats or do other things like that. And they typically have a much shorter cooldown. So an example might be this smaller monster they showed during the live stream, comes in, gives some sort of like radius buff. I would assume it's healing given the coloring. And of course it then goes away. Meanwhile, you can also get a bigger Imajinn, boss combat Imajinn. And basically these are, as it suggests, when you fight some of the bigger bosses. I would imagine this may well be quite rare, or it might take you a while to get to this. We don't necessarily have too much information on exactly how you'll get them or exactly how long it will take to get them, but you can get some of the bosses as combat Imajinn. And these will of course deal greater damage, or again have special abilities. They will of course increase some of your stats in the process, and they have a much more significant cooldown. So I guess you could liken these to almost like an ultimate version of the Imajinn. If you're going to bring out the boss version, it's kind of like a summon maybe in Final Fantasy. It's going to do some big damage, it's going to make a big song and dance, but you're going to have to wait quite a while before you can use it again. The Imajinn themselves, when you actually take a look at them in the stat screen, they of course all have their own unique stats, things like strength, endurance, agility, intelligence, mental resistance, attack power, and maximum HP, so they too have their own properties, and you can then swap them in and out depending on what you want to use, how you want to play, or the particular stats that you want, or the particular output you want from those abilities. On top of that, you do also have Mount Imajinn. You guys might have seen from the trailers, little snippets of characters rolling around on these little sort of wolf or fox style mounts. You can basically get these as Imajinn, and you can jump on them, increase your movement speed. Obviously, it's kind of a typical mount purpose, get from A to B much quicker. They have an energy gauge though, and once that's empty, your mount will disappear. So it sounds like you might not necessarily be able to just stay on these indefinitely. It might just be a means to quickly get from A to B or how far you can get, and then you need to go again. It does of course then pose the question, if these two can be things that you can obtain, maybe they have different style mounts. For the time being, we've just seen the fox/wolf mount initially, but there may well be some more ones later on. I've seen some pretty cool creatures in this game that will make for some awesome mounts, so hopefully that does pan out. There are also additionally equipment Imajinn. Not a great deal is known in this one. Basically, these are like materials and things that you can use to augment and increase the equipment stats of your gear. So obviously, when you start min-maxing your stuff and you start working towards, fine-tuning your build, these will of course become incredibly important. But largely speaking, the most exciting thing about the system is obviously the combat Imajinn, because these are things that will go into your skill tray. They're things that you'll be using in your typical damage rotation. There'll be things you'll be using alongside your typical combat abilities. and they look pretty damn awesome. We don't know quite how many monsters. I don't know whether it's a case of like every monster you see out on the field has the potential to become a combat Imajinn, or whether there are just like a small selection. But either way, it kind of adds in this sort of almost Pokemon style or Monster Hunter Story style, like collect some monsters, use them in your like battles, that kind of system, which I am totally all about. Anyway, for the time being, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to put together a quick video to go over what this system is. Also, I want to give a massive shout out to the guys over at the Blue Protocol database. They are doing fantastic work compiling a ton of information for Blue Protocol. If you guys want to see that, I will link the database down below. If you want to find out more about the game, you can go and do some reading on there. They've got loads of different articles, so it's definitely worth checking out. But for the time being, that's it. Be sure to keep it locked, because as and when there is more information, as and when the development team do more live streams, I'll be keeping you guys up to date on all things Blue Protocol. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and also click on the little bell icon to turn on notifications so you don't miss my next upload. Also, don't forget, you can check out 269 and Paradise Central streaming over on Twitch 6 days a week. You can find a link to the multi-stream in the description box down below. Be sure to drop by and get involved. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.